Hello, I am Bonnie Hughes. Today we're going to be discussing the 5 major silver producers on the New York Stock Exchange. There's been a lot of discussion recently about the mega mergers with the gold companies, Barrick and Randgold, Goldcorp and Newmont, but I do think it's time to start looking at potential mergers with the silver companies. Now, if we look at this first slide, you can see that the silver producers have not been performing very well, mainly because of the price of silver is not high enough to cover their cost of production in some cases, and they've also had declining production as time has gone on. So you can see that Hecla has been the worst performer along with Coeur Mining, both down about 64%, while First Majestic Silver has been one of the best performing ones, only down 19%. Now, they've all had dismal one-year performances, and the only catalyst really for them to start improving is if the price of silver goes up. Now, let's take a look at the next slide. And what we're going to look at is the market cap and where the operations are of these 5 major producers. And the reason that we're going to take a look at that is because it will give us some insight and idea of who could be acquired and who would be the acquiree. As you can see, First Majestic Silver has the largest market cap at $1.1 billion, but all their operations are only in Mexico. So if they were looking at acquiring another company, they would probably look at something that has most of their projects based in Mexico. The other highest market cap is Hecla at $651.2 million. Now, Hecla, though, is running into some trouble lately. They've got a class action lawsuit against them, as well as issues with some of their operations. And they also have a high debt ratio. So it is most likely that Hecla will not be acquiring anything at this point. So that leaves Coeur Mining and Fortuna Silver Mines. Both of those companies could be potential candidates for being acquired by either First Majestic or potentially even a gold company. But if gold is their primary production, it's unlikely they will look at silver. So the other thing to look at as a catalyst for why the price of silver could go up is because of Saudi's SoftBank is planning the world's largest solar project. Now, this is expected to cost $200 billion, and it will require an extra 200 million ounces of silver. This requirement of silver will definitely put the supply and demand for silver out of balance. At the moment, they're almost even, with sometimes a slight surplus or a slight deficit happening. But as time has gone on, production has been declining as this year has been going on, as well as the demand has been increasing more on an industrial level. So if we look at the last slide, what will this tell us is basically the revenue, net income, cash, and the all-in sustaining costs that these miners have for their production. And as you can see, again, it's pretty dismal looking. For the most part, Fortuna and First Majestic are the only two that have actually had a net income. The latter have all experienced quite big losses, and that's mostly due to declining production and rising costs. So if we look at the all-in sustaining costs, Endeavour Silver at $19.37, obviously it is much higher than the current price of silver. So it looks like they could be in some trouble for the next few quarters. So do some homework, take a good look at the balance sheets and the income statements of these silver companies, and you can make an assessment of when it would be a good time to look at acquiring silver mining companies. Thank you.